I'm here to talk about agents, their experiences, their challenges, and how our desktop tries to solve them, at least some of them. But first, let's look at some of the stats. Here are some of the predictions. So 72% of customer interactions are going to involve a new emerging tech. There will be a lot of increase in number of interaction channels that the contact centers will have to onboard. The number of phone calls-based communication will drop down, but you will still have human agent-based interactions, although they will be doing more and more digital. Here are some of the quotes from agents. It can be a tough job, right? There's a high churn, especially amongst the entry-level agents. 84%. Now, that's a big number. 84% of agents are dissatisfied with the systems and tools that they use. And they have to hop over a lot number of tools on a daily basis in order to serve their clients. Now, agents are born digital. They need to be digital, and they want to be digital. While the customers are short on time, they seek easy, they want instant gratification, and they demand big satisfaction. So agent experience is more important now than ever. Now let's look at some of the capabilities, some of the highlights of eGain's desktop. So it's an omnichannel desktop. The agents are able to handle interactions via emails, chat, video chat, SMS, all kinds of social channels in the same desktop. And we try to optimize the UI so that the feeling that the agent gets is optimal for us for the specific channel. For example, for email, we give them the full vertical pane in which they can see the threaded email, much like their email clients in their personal life. Same for SMS or chat or any kind of messaging channels. So you have the reply editor at the bottom, but you can scroll up and go through the conversation history by just scrolling up and up and up. Much more like how you would see the SMS on their mobile devices. In case of chat, you can switch from text to audio to video and go back. And you can enhance the conversation by adding co-browse to it. Same for phones. Once the agent has picked up the phone, we add a separate pane in the desktop which has captured all the relevant information like call variables. And it has added new buttons that are required for handling the call activities. And the solve is triggered automatically. The collaboration is built in the desktop, right? So you can click to ask, and then we have internal chats where the agents can collaborate with their peers and their supervisors on the current interactions or any other matters. And they can contribute to the knowledge base directly from the reply pane editor by suggesting new content from the editor. Guidance is built in. And we have intelligence bubbles. So these tiny little things at the right bottom corner, these can be used to show some actionable insights that may be helpful to the agents in order to solve the problems of their customers. So in case of guidance, we pull in all the context information that we have about the customer, and that can be used to pre-answer some of the questions. And you can also use that context to dip into third-party systems and pull in information to answer additional questions. OK, so those were a few of the highlights. Now, like I said earlier, the agents have to hop through different tools. Now, even though we cannot eliminate that, we can definitely improve the experiences by doing a very nice set of integrations. So in this case, on the right-hand side, we have eGain's knowledge and AI embedded in a third-party desktop. So that's Salesforce. There's another example where we have a couple of sections on the right, where the top one is for process guidance. So based on the attributes of the case, let's say case title or query type, this section can suggest a process guidance. It can actually take you directly into the guidance if the confidence level is high, or may just give you a little nudge that, OK, maybe you would want to use this guidance. Or it may just not show up if the confidence level is much lower. And the bottom section would actually list any kind of solution articles that you may have used on eGain side, and they will show up on the MST against the case. So last year, at this very venue, we introduced Flex. Flex is our framework which powers our desktop. So now Flex makes it easy to embed third-party apps into Advisor Desktop. So now this is the second way where you're embedding the third-party apps inside eGain's desktop. So you can do it very simply by going into our Tools console, and you can provide a URL. You can make the URL a bit dynamic by passing some context parameters, which will be expanded at runtime based on the current context, the current interaction that the agent is handling. You can go a level further by involving our messaging layer, where this third-party app can do a to and fro messaging between the desktop and itself. OK. Now, Flex also gives you the ability to easily configure your layout. So you can put all the panes inside the toolbox, or you can take panes outside the toolbox and rearrange them vertically side by side in any order which you want. We give you some out-of-the-box layouts, and we'll be giving more. But you can always, once you have third-party apps inserted here, you will not be able to use the custom layout, out-of-the-box layout. You'll have to come up with a custom layout, right? So let's say this is one particular layout. In this case, the toolbox is collapsed on the left-hand side, which could have our panes. It could have your third-party panes. Maybe you want to keep it collapsed. You would probably want to use this kind of layout when you're not handling the calls with eGain. You're handling calls in some other system. But you still want to use eGain for knowledge and AI. So the knowledge is front and center. You can change this a little bit by adding some more custom panes, for example, that are useful for your agents. So that's one way to do it. It's kind of extreme where one particular pane is getting the most real estate, and then you're collapsing all the other panes. This is another layout in which the right-hand side is the toolbox. So there are tabs with all the panes that are available, and then you have two panes outside and the inbox on the left. Eventually, once you start taking panes out of the toolbox, you will run out of space, especially on the single monitor. So Flex gives you this feature where you can stretch the panes onto multiple monitors, like this. So this could be one layout. In this layout, we are talking about conversations in context. So for example, the conversation side, the left-hand side, you have an ongoing chat along with guidance and co-browse going side by side as well. And on the right-hand side, you have the context information, which could be case context, the customer context, third-party context, and some collaboration tools on the side. So you may want to lay out your both the monitors in such a way that you have conversation on one side and context on the other side. So it's easy with Flex that you embed a third-party app just by a URL, and you can augment it by passing some custom parameters, and you can further augment by doing a two-way messaging. All this is happening on the client side. Now, today, we are introducing the third way, which is duo mode. So in the previous two ways, you were either embedding eGain desktop completely or parts of it inside a third-party desktop. And in the other way, you were embedding the third-party things inside eGain desktop. If you don't like embedding at all, maybe because eventually you have to play around with the real estates in both the desktops, right? Then this is the mode to go. In here, you have opened eGain desktop in one browser window and kept it on one monitor, and you have opened a CRM system. It could be your homegrown CRM system, MSD, Salesforce, any other system of record, which you may keep it on the second monitor. Now, it's the same as the previous one, where you have the conversation on the left-hand side and the context on the right-hand side. And then you can do your job like that. So in this case, again, like the earlier example of the embedded mode, based on the attributes of case, so it could be case title, case query type, or anything like that, you can drive the process guidance on the eGain side. And if you choose an article and add it to the case, it will get added on the MSD side. So all this functionality will still work, even though both of them have been opened separately. The only catch is you have to be on the same browser type as in. You can just use Chrome or Firefox or whatever. Then, this is kind of the last slide. So in here is the same thing, the conversation on the left-hand side and the context on the right. So in this case, this is the chat agent. And as soon as the chat comes in, and if you select the chat, the contact pane on the MSD side is loaded with the same contact. So you get the context information right away without having to copy something from one side, pasting it in MSD, searching for it, going there, that kind of thing. So it's making agent experience easier. So that's Duo. So I hope you guys have already got a chance to go to the demo stations and look at Flex and Duo. If not, you still have time. We'll be there. And if you have any questions about any of these things that I have presented today, I'll be happy to answer, and I'll be there. All right, thank you so much. Have a great day.